Hello and welcome back to Disneyland. I'm working on my toy box for the Small World ride, and for each episode I'm picking characters who represent different countries and cultures. And today I've got Anna with me, and she represents Norway, which is the part of the world that the fictional Kingdom of Arendelle was based on. Last time we built the exterior facade of the building that houses the ride, and today we're going to work on the interior of the building. But before we do that, I've got a couple things that I missed last time. If you can see through the clock tower there, you can see the sky behind it. And I meant to put a large block wall behind that so that you don't see that sunlight. And so I wanted to get this as close as I could to the back of this to cover that up. And I also noticed after I finished my recording that these were off the edge of the floor here. So you want to make sure these are scooted up like that. We'll do the same for the little peak on the front. Okay. Now we'll work on the interior. Here's some photographs of the interior of the ride. As you can see, the canal wanders through various whimsical displays of scenery for each of the different countries and cultures. The scenery is very simple, almost cartoonish in its appearance, and it's populated by childlike dolls that represent the children of the world. Some of the scenery moves. The windmills spin around, the flowers bob up and down or move back and forth like a metronome, and many of the dolls also move. They dance and spin and sing as you go by. Now here's the map for the Small World ride, and as you can see, each section of the ride is dedicated to a specific country, culture, or region of the world. I tried to follow this as closely as possible, but I did have to move a few things around because, unfortunately, the toy box doesn't have building pieces or townspeople for every culture. We're missing resources for places like Egypt and India and the Latin American countries, and also I don't have enough toy box memory to add in every possible building piece for every possible country, so I had to select a representative sampling for my ride. So if you start in the lower right corner, which is where the canal enters the building, I'll take you on a little tour and show you what I'm doing and where I've made changes. First off, we have France, and for that we have Belle and Gaston. On the opposite side of the channel is England, but I don't have room for England there, so I've moved England to where Spain and Italy are. That's where I'm going to build a little version of London Bridge that goes over the canal, and I'll also use the Cinderella characters for that area. For Scotland and Ireland, we're going to move that over to the finale area on the left, and I slid Belgium and Holland over to the corner to take their place. I'm going to use Periwinkle, the frost fairy from Tinkerbell's cartoon, to represent the Dutch, because her hair is shaped like a Dutch hat. I kind of thought that worked well. For Germany, I'm using Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket, and that area can be Germany or Italy, depending on who you talk to and where people think Pinocchio came from. For Scandinavia, I'm using Norway to represent that, so the Frozen characters will go there. Now in the upper right corner, I didn't want to put China there because this section of the Small World Sky Dome has windmills, and that doesn't really fit. So I moved China down to the right side of the map, the place where it says Switzerland. The Sky Dome on that side also has some oriental buildings and scenery, so that seemed like the perfect place for China. So I'm using Mulan and Mushu for that location. I wasn't sure what else to put in the upper right corner, so originally I stuck Mary Poppins up there. But now that I'm looking at this map again, I think what I'm going to do is set up Japan in this corner. I can use Hero and Baymax to represent that region, and I'll add some scenery to cover up those windmills. The area where it says Japan, I'm going to leave that empty so we can enjoy the Sky Dome. Now where it says India and Bali, I chose to set this up as the Arabic display, and I'm using the Aladdin characters for that. Africa will remain where it is. I'm going to use the Lion King and Jungle Book characters for that location. In the upper left corner, as I mentioned, I don't have enough building pieces or townspeople to create a complete display for Central and South America. I wish I did, but I don't. This is the one area, the one big area of the world where we don't have building pieces, and the Disney Infinity developers just didn't give us any. So on the map where it says Argentina, I chose to put the Alice in Wonderland characters there. There is a section in the real ride that has Alice in Wonderland, so it wasn't a stretch to add that here. Now in the corner where it says Mexico, I originally had Snow White, but I just saw where it says Llama on the map over by Chile. So I think I'm going to change this and add Peru here. I can use the Cusco townsperson for that, and I think I can create something that represents that area, so that'll be good, because at least that part of the world will have some kind of representation in my ride. In the bottom left corner, we have Hawaii and the South Pacific region. The Sky Dome fits that, so I'm going to leave that there. And for that area, I'm going to use some building pieces from Stitch's Tropical Rescue, and I'll use Lilo and Stitch townspeople for that. And for the finale section, I'm going to put USA on the left as you enter, and I'll use Woody and Jessie for that, because there's a cowboy and Indian area in that part of the ride. And in the middle, I'll place Scotland, and I'll use Merida and her family for that. So that's my layout for the interior of the ride. And if you look at that in the toy box, that's kind of the map that I've followed. So you can kind of see where I'm going to be putting everything as we build. And now that you know what I'm doing, I can start building this. I'm going to add the scenery today, and I'll add the townspeople for the dolls later on when we get to the logic. So we're going to start on this end of the toy box. And let me come down to the terrain drawer, and we're going to begin with this piece of terrain. We're going to put that right up here on the edge like that. And for the style of this, I'm going to use the Small World theme. And I've already got my power disc on the base. We'll set that to be our theme. All of the terrain that I put down is going to use this theme. And it works really well because the sides of it kind of make a nice background for our displays. So that's why I said this particular Sky Dome, or this particular terrain theme, you really got to have this in order to make this work. And it's the same on either side, so it doesn't really matter how we do that. And let me get to my screen grab here. Right, so we've got 3 pieces there, and then we're going to put in this little wedge just to kind of plug a gap here. And then I'm going to stick one of these here just as a temporary spacer. We're going to go back to the blocks drawer to this tall vaulted platform, and this is going to sit right here. And now we can take this piece out, or you can leave it in if you want. Doesn't really matter. I guess we could leave that there. Doesn't hurt anything. And from here back, this is going to be the hello and goodbye rooms for the ride. That's what they're officially called. So this is the hello room on this side, the goodbye room on this side, and this is going to make a nice kind of a place for the player to be hiding when we do our sky change later on with the logic. So it's another reason why I wanted to include this area. And it's a dark area, so we're going to go to the style for the blocks, and I'm going to set this to be the blacktop theme. I'll set that to be my theme. All right. And then we'll come down here to the corner. And in the basic blocks drawer, we're going to grab the wedge block. This is going to sit right in here like this. We're going to put that too high. And then we're just going to frame in some walls here. That's really as far as we need to go, because we're going to put some wall pieces down in front of that. But up top, we need to cover up this the top of this and get that up to the height of the walls. So we'll do that for that. And then we'll pick this piece of terrain up, put it down, come back over here to the middle, and actually we're going to set that right there like that. Then we'll put another couple of them out here. All right, and then we'll pick this piece up and put it back. Oops, put it back. And then we're going to put another one on this side, and you'll notice we have to move it over a little bit to line it up with the canal. And I'm also going to push it back 2 nudges. So right like you see that. And then once again, we'll add some, oops, add some of these in here. Like that. That gets that up to the height of the wall. And the blocks on this side kind of help cover up that gap on that side. And the wall over here kind of does that for that archway on that end. And once again, let's grab this little wedge piece. I'll put 2 of them in here like that. 2 like that. All right. And then back over here, we're going to put a couple of these down like that. Okay. And then we'll put one of these on the other side right there. Okay, and this begins to frame in the hello and goodbye rooms. Now, let's pick this piece up and put it back. We're going to use the small short block wall here. Put that right on the front and just run a row of these down the side. Like that. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. That just looks a little bit nicer there. Okay. And then in the middle, we're basically going to add in a wall of these, oops, down the middle as well. And I don't think we have to go that far back. Sorry about that. And actually, I think I put these backwards. Hold on a second. Yeah, we need it like that. So you'll want to flip all of these around. And the reason being is because when we get over here, we're going to have a row of these running down the side. And we want to be able to connect it with that corner. So like that. And I think it might be quicker just to put all of these down a little bit fresh. Okay. And we'll put a little block or something back there in a moment. Plug that gap. Oops. Yes. There we go. And then same thing over here. And you get the idea. And then run a second row of these down all the way around the perimeter, like you saw me do just a moment ago. And for the gap here, we can plug that with one of these. So there we go with that. And actually, let's put the smaller block in there, because we need to put a ceiling on this too. Okay. So now that we have that, and again, build up this wall like I did with the others, we can also put a ceiling on here, and I'm actually going to leave that out for the moment. I'll put that in at the end. Okay, so there are the hello room and the goodbye room as they come in. And now we'll put the walls in for the rest of this. And for that, we'll pick this up, put it down. And we have 1, 2, 3 total. We need another 2. So like that. And then we're going to build a little wall going down this way. So we're going to put 2 blocks here like this. A block out like that. One, 2, 3, yep. And then 2 smaller ones. And we're going to build kind of a little archway over the top of the water here. And something isn't quite right here. Hang on a second. That should not have ended up there. Alright, so we had this come out. I've got 2 blocks and this one. That is really weird. So we had 1, 2, 3. Okay, I see what I did. I was looking at the wrong thing. Okay, so we'll run this out like that. We'll put 2 of these across and 1 down on the side. There we go. Alright, and then we will come over here and we're going to add in one of these. We'll create kind of another little passageway there, another little bridge or door leading to that area. That'll be where Africa goes. And then over on this side, we're going to drop a block down like this. And basically put in another bridge. Another doorway. So Africa will sit inside this little room. Actually, that's not right. Sorry. That's going to go further down. All right, pick this piece up, put it back. We need to build a wall along the back here. I'm going to put down 2. And let me find my picture here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. like that. Okay, and then we'll come back over here, and right on the terrain seam here, we're going to place our little bridge. There we go. So this is where Africa will sit. That room shape looks better. Okay, and then we come back around over to here. And we're going to add in a tall column here. With kind of another doorway leading into the finale area. That block will sit there. And then on this end, we'll run those down, and that touches the grass there. Okay, and that is the walls then for our small world area, and that divides off all of the different areas. Okay, at this point I'm going to go offline and add the plants and decorations, because you don't need to watch me add all of that. It's going to take time, and all you really need to see is the end result. So let me do that offline, and I'll be back in just a moment. All right, here we are, and I've added all the plants and decorations, so let me review those for you. First thing I want you to notice is I made a little change on this wall over here. This wall, when I put it down earlier, was at this point, and I pushed it back to the back side of this block here, and I stuck an extra row of these back here to plug the gap, and I ran these all the way down, and I added an extra little section of wall there, and that created a little pocket in here that I forgot to add earlier for these decorations. And these are out of the decorations drawer. They're the plush flowers, Dolly's sunflowers, and the plush hearts. And I also stuck some of Woody's Roundup critters down here at the end. Okay? And then on the other side, over here, you can see I added the rest of the pieces around the top, and I added a few of those same decorations here, so when you come into the ride, you have something to look at. Okay, so over here, and you can pause the video along the way to see exactly where I place these pieces and what they are, but this one here is the rounded ledge block, and I stuck 4 of them around and built kind of a little pedestal there. It's right on this terrain seam. And I styled these with the violet gloss theme. So again, underneath here, if you scroll over to the right, it's violet gloss. And for London Bridge, which I'll show you where this is in a moment, but this was styled using gold or yellow gloss. And this is just the tall block with one of these little triangle blocks on top. Same thing on the other side with this long block in between. And the long block is styled with red metal. That's what I styled this with. If you scroll down a little ways, that's red metal. And then I also stuck a little pyramid over here. And this one is styled with Asgardian stone. And if you go back towards the beginning of the styling menu, that's this one. And it kind of has a little bit of an Egyptian look to it. So that's my little nod for Egypt. That wasn't there in the original ride. Okay, so looking at how I placed the plants, and again, most of these are the first 9 plants out of the customizable, or first 9 plants out of the plants drawer. They're the customizable plants. Notice which way I oriented and how they're placed. You can look at the blocks, you can look at the terrain seams, and so on. Notice the orientation of these, because the orientation is also important. So make sure you rotate them properly. This one's straddling the terrain seam. This little flag is from the candy section for Sugar Rush out of Building Sets Group 7. On the opposite side, we have this plant, followed by this one sitting on top of the terrain seam, and then right on the corner of that is where London Bridge is placed. And then we've got a couple of these pieces. I've got this little block here for the Yeti to sit on. This is just the terrain cube with one of these. And then this building is from the set pieces drawer. This is Mulan's fireworks tower. This is really the only Chinese piece that I have that I can sit in here. And it's simple enough looking that it kind of fits the rest of the decor. And then again, you've got the Chinese pieces and the sky dome off that way. And over here, we just have this plant. On this side of the bridge, we've got these 2 plant clusters. On this side, the plant clusters are sitting as you see there. And I'm going to move this here in a moment, so don't worry about that. But this is out of the Building Sets Group 6. It's the Agrabah Palace columns. Okay. In Africa, we've got this little tree sitting back here. And notice the orientation there on that. With one of these and another one of those. And some of these. Notice how they're oriented. And then you get over here, and we have these pieces here lined up like this. You're probably not going to be able to place these right there with this style. You'll have to style them first and then place them. And the same with that terrain block there. So I already pre-styled these, but I changed them back so you can see which pieces I'm using. And then 2 terrain cubes, and then those pieces. And then over here, you can see how these pieces are all set up. All right, these palms are out of the plants drawer. If you go a little bit further left in the drawer from the customizable pieces, that's where you run into these. They're the pirate trees. You can see how those are oriented. And then we get to the finale area, and you can see how these pieces are all oriented. Over here we've got a couple of the Woody's Roundup critters with Woody's trunk. This is also out of the decorations drawer, or Woody's trunk, Andy's wagon. That kind of fits the look of the ride. A couple little plant clusters there. We have this piece that's out of the decorations drawer. Puppet Theater. This piece sits over here like that. Those pieces sit in there like that. So that's what we've got. And that's all I've done is added all of those pieces. It took a little while, but you can kind of see how that goes. All right, so most of these pieces now are going to be styled with the Small World style. So let's go ahead and style all of them that way, and then we'll change the ones that are going to be something different. So we're going to select the Small World Towers on this corner one, and we're going to theme all. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. And that looks really, really good. You can see some of these pieces move, which is really cool. We have our mountains for Norway. These are going to be different. We're going to style these for the San Francisco theme because this is what we want for Japan. So we're going to change that to that style. This one we're going to change to the San Francisco shop. That's going to give us kind of a little section here for Japan. And it's a little bit more detailed than I would like for the Small World ride, but it will do. It's a nice small display that we can use here. Over here, you can see how these have changed, and they've got kind of the Arabic domes on them. And now that those have changed, we can move this piece over a little bit and slide it in there. You can see how all of those changed. That's going to be our Africa section. You can see how these all changed. This will be our section for Peru. I'll put Cusco over there in a future episode. Now these over here we're going to change to use Lilo and Stitch. So we're going to change this one to the Hawaiian beach trees. We're going to change this one to the Hawaiian beach strip. And this one to Hawaiian hammock. That has just kind of a nice look that matches the Sky Dome when we get it in here. And it also has a nice simple look that fits with the theme of the toy box. And then this will be our Scotland theme area. And there we go. That's it for the interior. And then to finish this off, we can come in here and pick up this little piece of terrain to get us back to this part of the drawer. And we can put in the floor. So we're going to start over here, or the ceiling rather. And we're just going to cover up the ceiling. Like that. And we should probably stick a piece in here to plug this little gap. And with that, the building exercise for the interior of the ride is done. Next time, we'll finish building the grounds around the exterior of the building, which will include the sidewalks, topiaries, trees, and other scenery. Well, that's all for me today. Thank you for watching. Before you go, please hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know what you think of my build for the interior of the ride. I'd love to hear what you might have done differently. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, and you like Disney Infinity and my toy box designs, just click my photo in the lower right corner of this video. Take care, and I'll see you next time.